Police sirens wail, piercing the night as a 91-year-old man's world crumbles. Once a respected teacher, now he delivers pizzas. His trembling hands grip the wheel, desperation fueling his speed. As blue lights flash behind him, his heart shatters. This traffic stop isn't just a ticket, it's the death of hope. But fate has a twist in store as the elderly speedster reveals his heart-wrenching secret. In the bustling city of West Valley, Utah, where manicured lawns stretch endlessly, a story of love, sacrifice, and unexpected kindness was about to unfold. Behind the pristine facade of a modest home, an elderly couple harbored struggles as deep and hidden as a secret garden of sorrow. As dawn's first light crept across the bedroom, 91-year-old Easton stirred, his bones creaking in protest. Rising carefully to avoid waking his sleeping wife, Cassandra, he gazed at her peaceful form. The lines etched deep in his face told a story of joy and hardship, of a life lived fully, now burdened by an unforgiving twist of fate. With trembling hands, he penned a love-filled note and placed it by her bedside. "Another day, another chance to save you, my dear," he whispered, his voice barely audible in the morning stillness. Catching his reflection in the hallway mirror, the old man startled. The man staring back wore not the dignified attire of the school teacher he once was, but the gaudy uniform of a pizza delivery driver. The bright red and black shirt seemed to mock his silver hair and weathered skin, a cruel reminder of how far he had fallen. But fall he had, and gladly so, for the woman who had been his North Star for half a century. Cassandra's heart, once so full of life and laughter, now betrayed her with congestive heart failure. The treatments that promised to mend it came with a price tag that threatened to break them both. As if the poor woman's heart condition wasn't cruel enough, fate had another devastating blow in store. The doctor's grim announcement echoed in their minds: stage 4 colon cancer. The diagnosis felt like a death sentence, leaving the couple reeling. Faced with her mortality, the frail woman made a heart-wrenching choice. She decided to forgo aggressive treatment, opting instead to spend her remaining days in the comfort of their home, enveloped in her husband's unwavering love. The couple's financial situation was dire. Years of careful saving had vanished in a blink, sacrificed to the insatiable maw of medical bills. Their retirement fund, their 401k, all drained dry by treatments that insurance coldly deemed uncovered. Easton felt the crushing weight of helplessness as he watched their resources dwindle to nothing. Yet even as hope seemed to slip through his fingers like sand, his love for his wife burned brighter than ever. It fueled a fierce determination within him. He would do anything, suffer any indignity, even resort to begging if it meant giving her a fighting chance. And so the man who had spent decades shaping young minds now found himself racing against time, delivering hot pizzas to hungry strangers. Each tip, each hard-earned dollar was a step closer to saving the love of his life. As Easton climbed into his battered car, memories of happier times washed over him. Stolen kisses in the school hallway where they first met, the joy in his wife's eyes on their wedding day, the quiet nights spent dreaming of a future that now seemed cruelly out of reach. He clung to these memories like a drowning man to a life raft, letting them fuel his determination. The day unfolded like so many before it, a blur of deliveries, impatient customers, and the constant nagging fear of not being enough. But as night fell, bringing with it a flurry of last-minute orders, fate decided to test Easton's resolve once more. The clock ticked mercilessly as he sped down empty streets, carrying a delivery that was already an hour late. "Just one more," he muttered, pressing harder on the gas pedal. "One more, and I can go home to her." Suddenly, the night exploded in a cacophony of red and blue police patrol lights. Easton's heart sank as he pulled over, knowing that this traffic stop could shatter everything he'd been fighting for. Officer Matthew approached, his face a mask of stern professionalism. But as he peered into the car, confusion replaced his authoritative demeanor. "Sir," he began, "do you realize how fast you were going?" In that moment, the dam broke. Tears streamed down the old man's weathered cheeks as words tumbled out, a desperate confession of love, illness, and the cruel hand they'd been dealt. He spoke of sleepless nights spent worrying, of the fear that gripped his heart each time his wife winced in pain, and of the shame he felt at his inability to provide for her as he once had. Officer Matthew listened, his own eyes softening with each heartbreaking detail. Ultimately, the law's cold hand won out. Officer Matthew, torn between compassion and duty, reluctantly wrote out the ticket. As he handed over the citation, the $75 fine felt like a dagger to the old man's chest. In one cruel moment, an entire day's labor, every pizza delivered, every tip earned, vanished into thin air, replaced by a damning slip of paper. The drive home was a blur of unshed tears and quiet desperation. As Easton walked through their front door, he swallowed his anguish, forcing a smile for his ailing wife's sake. The weight of their struggles pressed down on him, but he couldn't bring himself to add to her burdens. Her fragile state and weakened heart were already bearing too much. He'd carry this latest blow alone, shielding her from yet another disappointment in their twilight years. The next day dawned gray and somber, mirroring Easton's heavy spirit. He set out on his rounds, the weight of yesterday's ticket pressing down on him like a physical force. As he approached a familiar house, his breath caught in his throat. It was the patrol car of Officer Matthew, the very man who had pulled him over the night before. With trembling hands, Easton rang the doorbell. The officer appeared, a warm smile replacing last night's stern expression. "I've been expecting you," he said softly. Confusion etched itself across the old man's features as he handed over the pizza. But instead of payment, Officer Matthew pressed an envelope into his weathered hands. "We raised this for your wife's treatment," he explained, his voice thick with emotion. "It's not much, but we hope it helps." Time seemed to stand still as Easton opened the envelope. Inside was a check for $135,000, a lifeline he never expected. The money was more than enough for his wife's mounting treatment costs. Tears flowed freely now, not of despair, but of gratitude and renewed hope. A note tucked inside read, "Our duty is to protect and serve, but we are still human. Have a wonderful day." Moved by Easton's heart-wrenching ordeal, Officer Matthew couldn't keep it to himself. He shared the elderly man's plight with his fellow officers, his words painting a vivid picture of love, sacrifice, and desperation. The story spread like wildfire through the police force, touching hearts and opening wallets. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. In a stunning display of community spirit, donations began pouring in. Officers dug deep, contributing what they could. The movement quickly snowballed, extending beyond the police force to the wider community. People from all walks of life, touched by the couple's story, stepped up to help. In a whirlwind of compassion, the impossible became reality. Within a mere 24 hours, the impromptu fundraiser had amassed an astounding $135,000. As Easton drove home, his heart swelled with a cocktail of emotions: relief, joy, and a profound sense of humility. The simple act of compassion had not only eased his financial burden, but had also restored his faith in humanity. Easton burst through his front door, calling out to his wife with a vigor he hadn't felt in years. As he swept her into his arms, mindful of her fragility yet unable to contain his excitement, he knew that this was more than just financial aid. It was a second chance, a renewal of hope, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggle. That night, as he lay beside his sleeping wife, he reflected on the unexpected turn of events. He realized that in his desperation to be her savior, he had forgotten the power of community, of human kindness. Officer Matthew's actions had not just helped save his wife, they had saved Easton too, rescuing him from the brink of despair and reminding him of the beauty that still existed in the world. As sleep finally claimed him, Easton's last thoughts were of gratitude for his wife, for Officer Matthew, and for the countless unseen hands that had reached out to lift them up in their darkest hour. In the quiet of the night, a renewed sense of hope blossomed, fragile yet resilient, ready to face whatever challenges tomorrow might bring.